Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to the Econobox Garage. Come on inside where it's a little bit warmer. Well, my new 6-bladed one-piece fan has arrived. It's Moss part number 434560. And this comes stock on the 1275 engines and is a common upgrade for the 948s and 1098s. So rather than being 3 pieces, like the stock fan is, it's only 1 piece. Now, one thing I do have to be mindful of when doing this, the original bolts are just a 3/4 inch, and you can see there's not much thickness here in the blade assembly itself. Where the bolts go through on the plastic one, it's actually quite a bit thicker, and so the bolts have to be a 1/4 inch longer, so I'm replacing the 3/4 inch with 1 inch. I will double check that the end of the bolt doesn't fall on the water pump in behind the pulley before I try and start it up. So I'm going to take the bolts out of the pulley and get the new fan installed, and once that's in, then I can install the radiator and get new coolant in. Okay, so first thing first is take the pulley off. Okay, so there's the pulley bolts undone. Put that aside. I'll just pop this off. Now I'm going to make sure that this hole here fits over the end of the water pump before I do anything, and that works quite well. So I'll put that back on without the belt. Now I'm just going to put the 2 in here to start with. I'll snug those up. Then I'm going to spin this. Now we've got some fouling up on the water pump, so I have to pull those out. Or is that? Oh, maybe not. Just hang on. Actually, what that was is the fan belt stuck in behind the pulley. I'll pull these out and just pull the fan belt out of the way. Let's try this again without the pulley there this time, or without the fan belt. So the new bolts don't foul on the water pump. So I'll pop those off, get the fan belt back in place, and I'm going to use some Loctite on these 4 bolts just to make sure that they don't back out. Let's get the belt back on. And hopefully I can do this without having to loosen everything off because everything's nice and lined up. Well, there we go. There's that one part. And get this. There we go. And I will just line up a pulley with some holes like that. I will get my Loctite. And we'll just snug those up with the ratchet. And there we go. And just for reference sake, I did check beforehand that the blades are the same diameter. So we're good to go on that. So rather than having those 3 pieces of metal rattling around on the front, I just have a 1-piece unit, more blades, and it looks like the blades are, it's actually a steeper thing, so that should draw more air through the radiator and improve cooling. Well, now that the new fan is in place, I'll grab the radiator and get that reinstalled. I have the radiator bolted back in place with its 4 bolts. I have the sensor for the temperature gauge back in the radiator, and I have the upper radiator hose on. Now the tricky one is to get the bottom hose on, so I'll work on that. And then for that lower radiator hose, I'll put a link up above to the video where I first installed it to give you an idea of what's going on here. Once I've got that on, I'll make sure that drain plug on the bottom of the radiator is tight, and then I can fill it back up. I have that lower radiator hose in place and clamped up, and I've got the radiator filled up with coolant. So next up will be to start the car, just to make sure that I've got enough coolant in there. I'm going to top it up if necessary, and then we'll get to putting the bonnet back on. Oh, and there we have the bonnet back in place. I'm just going to tighten up where my connector goes here. Then I'll plug the harness in and we will be good to go. Well, I've run into a little bit of a hitch here in that this bracket here pulls the socket too far away and it doesn't give me enough room to plug in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to modify this bracket so that this part of it here actually folds back that way. That will move this part of the harness closer and I'll be able to get it plugged in. So fortunately, I did buy some extra ones of these. So I'll play around with a couple of different ideas and then go from there. Well, I've got this sorted out now. All I had to do is switch the bracket on the back of the plug here. So that's now firmly attached. I've also checked that it doesn't interfere with anything when it's down. I've also checked to make sure that everything works with the bonnet in its closed position, and I'm very happy with how that's turned out. I've also checked the circuits, so everything works as it should. The headlights work, the horn works, signal lights work, and all that. So next up is putting the Bugeye to bed for the winter. Well, that's all we have time for this week's episode. Thanks for joining me. I'd like to say thank you to everyone that supported the channel, either by commenting or getting a hold of me directly via email, and I'll have that address at the bottom of the screen here. And also for hitting that super thanks button and picking up merchandise such as this hat, and there's shirts, mugs, water bottles, hoodies, and a couple of other items there in the store. And the link to that's just below this video. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to share it with your friends, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget that little bell icon. Click on that and you'll get notified when the next video comes out. And that next video, we'll be putting the Bugeye to bed for the winter. My name is Ian. This is the Econobox Garage. We'll see you next time.